I'm Sarah with the Volusia County Public Library System, coming to you from the Ormond Beach Regional Library. And on this episode of Volusia Gets Crafty, I'm going to show you how to crochet this bunny garland. It uses a few new stitches, the puff stitch, a front post half double crochet, and a single crochet 2 together. I'm going to break this project up into 2 videos. So in today's episode, we're going to work through the body of the bunny, the head, and then also one of the ears. You can check in the description box below if you want to find where you can get a free copy of the pattern so that you can follow along with me. I also want to encourage you to check out our selection of crochet books at one of our branches, or you can visit us online at volusialibrary.org. So whenever you're ready, why don't you grab a hook and some yarn, and let's hop to it. Okay, so to begin the bunny garland project, you need to start with a magic circle. And I filmed a previous tutorial on that if you need to revisit it, if you're unfamiliar with how to do that. So I like to make my circle a little smaller to start with, but you're going to insert your hook into the center of the circle and pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. And that's a single crochet. You're going to put 8 single crochets into the center of the circle, and I will meet you back in just a second. Okay, so I've just got done with my 8 single crochets into my magic circle. I'm going to pull on the tail and close in the circle, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet that I made. Be sure you get under both loops of that stitch, pull through and pull through. So that's round 1 of the body. Start round 2, the instructions say to chain 1 and to put a puff stitch in that very first stitch and in each stitch going all the way around. So a puff stitch, you yarn over, insert into the space, and pull up a loop 4 times. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. Now this one can be a little tricky because your hook can have a tendency to get caught on the loops inside the puff stitch. So the key to it is you want to be sure to have nice, tall, loose loops. So here we go. We're going to yarn over and keep this up nice and tall. And I like to hold on to it because what we're going to do is go into the same space that you joined and pull up your first loop. And you want to pull it up nice and tall. You're going to yarn over and hold on to all those loops. Go into that same stitch a second time, pull up a nice tall loop. Yarn over, hold on to those stitches, go in for a third time, pull up a nice tall loop, yarn over, hold on to your stitches, go in for your 4th time, pull up a nice tall loop. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the head of your hook down, and pull through all the loops on your hook. Then you're going to chain 1 to secure your puff stitch, and you're going to chain 1 to advance to the next stitch. And then you're going to put a puff stitch in each of them going around. So we'll do it one more time. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a nice tall loop. Give yourself a lot of space. Yarn over. So that was our first time in. Pull up a second loop. Yarn over. Pull up a third loop. Yarn over. Pull up a 4th loop. All nice and tall. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook. Chain 1 to secure the puff stitch, and chain 1 to advance to your next stitch. So practice makes perfect, you guys. Go around. By the time you're done, you'll have 8 puff stitches because we had 8 single crochets, and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. Okay, so I've just made my way around round 2. I have 8 puff stitches in the 8 single crochets. I've chained 1 to secure and 1 to advance, and then I'm going to slip stitch it into the top of this first puff. So if you kind of pull on that top of the puff, you'll see there's a little space there, and that's where you're going to put your hook in and pull through and pull through. All right, so that's round number 2. So for round 3, it's very similar, but we're going to get a lot more practice with our puffs. We're going to chain 1, and the directions say to put a puff stitch in the top of every puff and a puff stitch into the chain 1 spaces all the way around. So we're going to yarn over and remember, keep it nice and tall. That's the key, you guys. Go into that space, pull up once, yarn over, pull up a second time, yarn over, pull up a third time, yarn over, pull up a fourth, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook, chain 1 to secure, chain 1 to advance. And then you're going to put a puff stitch in the chain 1 space as well. So yarn over, pull up a loop, nice and tall, guys. Yarn over, hold them in place, it really helps. Pull up a second loop, pull up a third loop, yarn over, pull up a fourth loop, and then pull through all loops on your hook. Chain 1 to secure the puff stitch and 1 to advance. So you're going to continue with that all the way around. Put a puff stitch on top of the puff and a puff stitch in each chain space going all the way around. So by the time you're done, you'll have 16 puffs, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've made my way back around round 3. I now have 16 puff stitches. So give yourselves a round of applause if you made it through. You didn't see on camera because I was doing all these puffs, but I had to pull a few out because they got caught up or I lost my stitches. That's okay. Nobody's perfect. This stitch takes a lot of practice. So keep at it. It's well worth it. It's a beautiful stitch. So I chained 1 to secure, I chained 1 to advance, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first puff stitch that I made. I have found that the type of yarn you use can make a puff stitch easier to do, so if you're struggling, try a different kind of yarn and you might have more success with this stitch. But I found the yarn that the pattern calls for works pretty good. So our last round of the body, we're going to chain 1. We're done with puff stitches, guys. You can rest easy. We're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet into the top of your puff stitch that you just slip stitched to. And then you're going to put 2 single crochets into the chain space. And that is your repeat pattern for this round. A single crochet in the next puff, and then 2 into the chain space. So continue that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 4. So I've made my way back around round 4. I put 2 single crochets in the last chain space, and I'm going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet I made of this round, and we have completed the body of our bunny. So now we're going to go into the directions for the head of the bunny. Now this is just work back and forth in rows. So we're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet in that same space that you slip stitched to. So yarn over and pull through 2. Then you're going to put a single crochet in each of the next 8 single crochets. So we're going to put 8 more single crochets. So I'll let you go across and I'll meet you at the end. So I've just finished row 1 of the head. I have the starting single crochet plus 8 more, so we've got 9 single crochets. To begin row 2 of the head, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work. Now that chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. We're going to put another half double crochet in that very first stitch, so just to the left of the chains that you did, that very first one. So a half double crochet, remember you yarn over, go into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That's a half double crochet. And then you're going to put a half double crochet into each of the remaining stitches. So I'll let you go all the way across and I will meet you at the end. All right, so I've just completed row 2. I put a half double crochet in each stitch, and that first one had the beginning chain 2. So when you include the chain 2, you should have that plus 9 half double crochets, giving you 10 stitches for this row. So to start row 3, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And the directions call for us to put a front post half double crochet around each of the posts of the stitches from the row below. So remember to do a front post stitch of any kind. This one is a half double crochet, so yarn over, go behind that first post and come back out the front so it pops it forward. Okay, you're going to yarn over and pull the yarn back behind that post, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that's a front post half double crochet. Let's do it one more time. Yarn over, go into the right. If you pull these apart, you can see those posts of each of those stitches. You're going to go to the right of the post, behind it, back out the front so that it's popped forward. Yarn over, pull the yarn behind the post, yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops for the half double crochet. Front post half double crochet. So work one of those around each of the posts of these stitches all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end. All right, so I'm coming to the end of row 3 for the head, And remember, we started row 2 with the chain 2 and a half double crochet in the same space. You've got 2 there, so you want to make sure you're going to do 2 individual front post half double crochets. So I wanted to draw your attention to that. So around the half double crochet and then around the chain 2 at the end. That gets 1, 2. So you should have 10 front post half double crochets for the end of this row. Next is our last row of the head. Chain 1 and turn your work. You're going to skip the very first stitch, which is the one just to the left of where you chained up 1. So skip that first one and put a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay. Then we're going to do what's called a single crochet 2 together. And how you do that is you insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. But instead of completing the single crochet, we're going to go into the next stitch and pull up another loop. So there's 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So you took 2 stitches, but they're coming together in 1. So that's a single crochet 2 together. You're going to put a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then in the last 2 stitches, we're going to do another single crochet 2 together. So go into the first one, pull up a loop, and the last one, it's kind of slanting towards you. It's done this in all of them that I did, so just don't forget that one. You're going to go in there, yarn over and pull up a loop. 3 loops are on your hook, and pull through all 3. So that is how you complete the head of the bunny. Now we're going to start on the ear, and we're just going to work through one ear because we don't have enough time in one video. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to skip the very first single crochet again, and you're going to put a single crochet in the next stitch and a single crochet in the stitch after that. All right, so that's row 1 of the ear. Chain 1 and turn your work. For row 2, we're going to put a single crochet in the first stitch, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So you have a total of 3 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now for rows 3 through 6, you're just going to continue that on. You're going to have 3 single crochets. Work 1 single crochet in each of them. So for row 3, we have 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. Row 4, 1, 2, 3 single crochets, chain 1 and turn. This is making our ear taller. Row 5, 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, chain 1 and turn. And then we've got row 6, 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. The last row for the bunny, row 7, we skip the very first stitch, and in the second one we're going to put 3 half double crochets. So pull up a loop, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops on your hook. You're going to put 3 half double crochets in that center single crochet and slip stitch into the very last single crochet. And then you can fasten off. Okay, so at this point, you could weave in your ends from your ear. If you you could weave in this end of your magic circle too if you wanted to make sure that it doesn't fall out, but I'll let you do that. And in the next part, we'll add on the second ear. We'll do an edging, we'll add the tail, and we'll string it onto a garland. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Part 2 is coming up next. You can check out more videos like this on Volusia Library's YouTube channel. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.